Hello and welcome back to the podcast, bros. As always, it's me, Aviz Rasumargi, and with me today,
it's Ashul Sumargi.
So we were not able to upload a video last week, and we had a little bit of a family event and other things going on. But we should be right back on track from this week on. And anything else, Ashul?
So with that, we will be back and enjoy this episode.
And today, Ashwal, we are going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragon Honor Among Thieves. Yes, quite a mouthful, just the way some people like it. But we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about the movie. Ashwal, get into it. Give us some synopsis of the movie.
So, a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
It's been some time. And we did check it out. So basically, it's about there's a group of thieves. They go on this epic quest, but then things go wrong, and then it does not turn out to be in their favor, and then everything is chaos. So basically, and this guy is looking after the main guy. He's looking after, he wants to get his daughter back. So there's this whole mission, and so basically the story is about these group of people, and there's a villain and all that. So what did you think? What about the, let's go through with the directors and all that.
Yeah, okay. So the director of the movies were John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. For the people that know these names or don't know these names, they were the director of the famous movie Game Night.
Yeah, that was a good
radar movie. Yeah, really funny movie, right? So they have pedigree for making funny movies, and Game Night was also surprisingly funny, right? So really amazing people, and I think this was their second foray into making this big movie. And some of the stars of this Dungeon and Dragon movie, which is a star-studded movie by the way, even the cameos, right? Chris Pine, so Captain Kirk, right? And then Michelle Rodrigues, the mother of the family.
The family.
And Rene John Page.
Yeah.
Right? From Brigerton. And Ashwal being a big fan of Brigerton.
No. But then he did play a good role in the movie. But then talking about the directors, Game Night and this is a completely different movie. Yeah, and I think they did well in both of the movies.
Yeah. And surprisingly deep, right? So they even touched all the D&D lores. So, so fun movie distributed by Paramount Movies. So Paramount Pictures, sorry. So Paramount did a very good job. A lot of people went to watch it. I was surprised. And the movie also being very good, I think it really did shine out. But the budget was 150 million.
And it grossed 157.
Yeah. So just made profit. Just in profit. And it did open relatively at the end of March, right? After 15th March or something like that. So, that was pretty much the whole thing. But now we're going to be talking about spoilers, right? So for the people that do not want to be spoiled about the movie and all that, please tune out and, get into it. Let's go.
So what about, let's dive into the standout roles. There were a lot of star-studded cast and a lot of characters that we really needed to understand.
Yeah.
So what about the standout roles? What did you think?
So the main protagonist of the movie is Chris Pine, right? And Chris Pine is a very, very good actor. I've always loved him, and I've always been a big fan of the Star Trek movies.
Yeah, he has a poster of Chris Pine in his room. Yeah.
I mean, that was a secret. Come on, man. But, so Chris Pine, great actor, right? And then I was a big fan of the Star Trek movies, and I've seen even the old ones and all that. So I was a big fan of Chris Pine from ages. But in this movie, it's been a while since we've seen Chris Pine lead a movie properly, and this one was one of those movies. He plays a bard in the movie, right? And he also got paid $12 million.
That was decent.
Yeah,
that's decent. Yeah.
Right? But really funny. He really plays. He doesn't seem dumb, right? But he walks on the line of being dumb, but also smart enough.
Yeah, as he says in the movie, he's the planner.
Yeah.
He plans.
And you make plans that fail.
Then he comes up with another plan.
Yeah. So Chris Pine, really, really good. And what did you think? Who else did you think were standout?
Holga, as in Michelle Rodrigues. She was a really fun character. I don't like her character in other movies. I don't like the way she acts and all that. But this, she fit in the role. Because she is shown as a really strong character. She beats up, and the action scenes were good as well. So
anything she can find, she'll use it as a beating.
Yeah, exactly. And the dialogues were funny, so she fit in the role. So that was really nice to see.
And you know what else I liked about her? The arc they gave her with the cameo of Bradley Cooper.
Oh yeah.
So Holga is this massive brute, and she falls in love with these little people. And then Bradley Cooper being the cameo that comes in, and it's such a...
She's tough on the outside, but then in that scene, she melts, and then that was a good
Coconut,
scene.
Huh? But the other standout that I loved, and during the movie, I just said it to Ashwal that oh my God, but it was Sophia Lills, and people might think, oh my God, her part was less, what is he talking about? No, bro, she looked pretty.
Yeah.
She looked every scene that she was in, she just looked very, very beautiful, and it was just us being straight, me at least, So, it was very eye-catching and very attractive. And, she was very good.
Yeah, she did not get a lot of screen time because her character was CGI based. She was the shapeshifter, right? Yeah. So
she turned into a bear, owl, and all these different animals and all that. Sometimes a bee or something like that. But I really did like
interesting
her.
character.
Yeah, and I think I would love, because she also had a complicated story behind her. How she was abandoned, and then this group of outcasts took her in, and then now she fights for these people. So, and the other fun thing about this movie, I have to say this, that everyone had their own incentives to be in the group, which was different. Everyone had a different incentive, but it lined up enough that everyone was willing to go along with this ragtag group of misfits and try to take on.
They did need some convincing, but then exactly everyone had the reasons to be in the journey. And the thing about this team was the chemistry was good.
Right?
It kept us focused on the group.
So we don't get to see the antagonists a lot. We spent major portion of the movies with the protagonist, but we do not mind it because it's so much fun banter going back and forth. It's such a fun just time pass of a movie. So who else?
Talking about the banter, Rene, Jean Page, and Chris Pine's Edgin's banter. That was funny, man. Because Rene Jean Page as Yendar, that's how. So he's shown as a serious guy with no sense of humor. So, and Chris Pine, on the other hand, he's all. That's all he's got, sense of humor. So that the chemistry between them was really fun. And he's this guy is a warrior, and then he only knows, the right way. So basically, that was a good one.
And like I said before, Brigerton fan. Yes, he's got a poster. But and the way they played it off, it was fun because Rene John Page was not in the movie for very long, right? But he stood out. For the moments that he was in there, he really stood out. And the banter, right? Chris Pratt and Rene Jean Page.
Chris Pine,
sorry. The way they went back and forth, it was very well done. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't something super crazy or or it wasn't so bad. They walked the line very well.
Because recently some of the movies you see, especially some of the MCU movies, because they've been overdoing with the comedy a little bit. Because and then there's a perfect line that you got to tap into, and I think they've done that. And I wasn't really hyped about this movie because I did not know the history about the game as well. But then he was he was really interested and hyped for the movie. But then it was worth it. We can say that. And
it's been a while that we've seen something this funny. It's been a while that we've seen something this funny on a big screen.
So what about the antagonist?
The antagonist, there were two antagonists. So one was Hugh Grant, of course, the famous Hugh Grant, the romantic lead in a lot of movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. Some of his big ones are Love Actually, Notting Hill and all that and all. So Hugh Grant, a British actor, was a good fit and he did well. I think he could have done more with the role, but still it was good enough that like he was funny in his own right, and his motivations, because he's a con man in the movie. So basically, in Dungeons and Dragon is basically a tabletop RPG, right? Role playing game. So in that you have all these different classes. So Chris Pine is a bard, right? And then Michelle Rodriguez is a brute, and in a similar vein, like Doric is, I forget the word, but then like Justice Smith as Simon Aumar. Yeah, he was a magician.
Doric is the shapeshifter.
Yeah. So like there are all these different classes, and then Hugh Grant falls in the class of conman.
Okay.
Right. So like he portrayed the part of a conman throughout the movie, and that was also very well done. So I did really enjoy Hugh Grant as well. Did we miss anyone stand out?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think this was the ones we mentioned were basically the center of the movie. Yeah, there were lots of goods and bads. I think there were more goods than the bads. So the good aspects of the movie, I think it was the funny, like we said, they balanced on the, not too funny, not too serious line perfectly. And I think the funny was, it was really good. The dialogues were well done, and the actors also played it really nicely. I think it was well written as well.
And there was like sadness in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Like there were moments of like for each character, like you could see how so for Justice Smith, he is a magician, but he's not a very strong magician. So you can see his struggle with trying to be cool in the world, whereas Doric is trying to save her family, and then like you see Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, they're trying to save their daughters. So like everyone has like a touch in this movie, and it's a very well done. And even with all that sadness, they do not do over the top like stupidness funny like they did it in Thor. What was the last one?
Love and Thunder. Yeah.
Like when it's a sad scene, they let the sad scene play out, right? And then the funny comes back. Whereas in Thor, Love and Thunder, like a sad thing just happened, and they'll just cope up with it with a humor. Like so.
Yeah.
So like you said, really funny but well balanced funny.
And the CGI.
Yeah. CGI.
Really well done, right?
Yeah.
Really well done. I think the 150 million, were really utilized well. And we can even say, better CGI than the recent MCU movies.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree.
Yeah.
They fired the MCU's CGI head because of late there was so much complaint.
Yeah, so this must have happened after the Ant-Man.
Yeah, I think so. So that, and what else?
The good thing about this was it was a 2 hour 15 minutes movie, and then the amount of things that they put in this 2 hour 15 minutes movie was really it was well packed, action packed. The story, and they managed to put in all the characters' story, the backstories, backgrounds as well. And the individual moments, and they managed to include the antagonists as well. So action-packed movie, in a short action-packed movie. Yeah.
You know what else I liked about this movie? I was watching this deep dive on this movie, and then I found out that a lot of things were kind of played out like how they would play out in the game, right? So it's so in the tabletop game. So for example, you say that I try to jump off that ledge, and like the ledge is a little bit far, but I try to jump off that ledge, and then you roll, right? So if you roll and then the number doesn't match the number that you need to
jump off the ledge,
then you fall.
Okay.
Right. So in a similar vein, so when those brain kind of creatures walk across them in the dungeon, right, and they do not detect anyone like being intelligent. So that is basically like in the game. So you might say that like, okay, I will try to read this book or something, like given a scenario, right? Like where your intelligence is used. So you have to roll. And if you do not hit that intelligence mark, then basically you are not that intelligent, right? So that was like how they sprinkled the game into it. So like that was basically like an intelligence check, right? And then there were other moments like this where, some of the words they were using, like paladin, right? So paladin are basically very overpowered soldiers that are like, they cannot do no wrong, right? So if you just would have heard it, then we would have been out of it. But then like they explain it in the movie for us, that people that do not play Dungeons and Dragons as well. But for the people that like Dungeons and Dragons, there were sprinkles of all this like fun things as well.
Yeah.
So really like well done, you know. And then I'll put that in the weak points. But anything else?
So yeah, I mean, the people that have, that somewhat know about the game, they must have enjoyed it, like, thoroughly, because of the sprinkles that you said. Some of the small points that you catch in the movie that you knew. Right? That must have been good. Sadly I wasn't one of them.
No, me neither. So that's why I came back and I was like, okay, let me see the deep dive, right? Like because there was overwhelming positivity about this movie, and I was like, okay, what does the real people think? Like the people that this movie was genuinely made for, what do they think, right? And then there are, of course, like people that are so purist that they would say that this movie is like kind of a disgrace to the whole game. But a lot of the people were like
disgrace in the sense that this was like this was such a light movie.
Yeah, the concept of like this Dungeons and Dragon is almost like a real world. So basically, a metaverse, but in your imagination. So it's that complex, right? Like when you're playing it. So, but this movie just glazes over it, no? So that's why the purists would be like, okay, this movie didn't do this good or that good. But like a majority of the people that play and then they did not have that hard of a feeling for the game, they genuinely enjoyed it. So
that was nice. The other thing that was nice was they did set it up nice for the second part. So if they wanted to come back, which I think they might, because financially it was it was okay-ish, but then the reception that it got from the critics and the fans, I think that will bring them back. And this was, everyone basically enjoyed the chemistry and all that. So to have them back as a group with the daughter back as well. So I think it was a good setup for part 2.
And the way they end the movie as well. At the end, they do say, like, because Doric, Sophia Lills' character, she, at the start of the recruitment process, she's like, I do not like humans, right? But by the end, she's like, maybe I can tolerate you guys, you know? So basically, they're saying that, like, maybe now we will be like a semi-family kind of a thing, where we all can, like, go on adventures and do all these different things and all that. So I think they are setting it up.
And there's this scene, I mean, the entire movie, Chris Pine is all about, saving my daughter and getting that relic to save his wife, right? To bring his wife back. But then at the end, he sacrifices the thing to save Holga, right? And that was such a bold move from the movie perspective, and also such a sentimental touch in the movie, right?
And in this movie, the wife, who is dead, gets a lot more screen time than John Wick all part combined.
Right?
So, we had a little bit more of a connection with the wife in this movie. But he does make that sacrifice, and this like rounds up the whole thing about how they balance everything so well, So that's the good part. Now let me get into some of the weaker aspect of the movie, right? Like, because the movie was fun, but the antagonists, like, so we are critiquing a movie, right? So like, if we just take it at face value, all the strong points, all the good things and all that and all, but some of the weaker points were the antagonist was supremely weak, because we are led to believe initially that Hugh Grant's character of Forge, the con man, he is the only antagonist in the movie, and he is utilizing that I forget, the sorceress,
the witch,
right, the red witch. Is utilizing her power to get his needs. But then, almost like third act of the movie, we find out that the red witch is the one controlling everything, and she's just using Forge as the face so that she can do her plan behind.
She can. She's plotting a plan, using the Forge.
So the and because we spend so much time with the protagonist, which not a bad thing, like we said, the antagonists do not get a long time to like flesh themselves out, right? So that leads, the blessing of that is that there is a part 2 that is highly possible now, because we all like the protagonists so much. But the weaker part is that like this is now just maybe I'll watch it again, but like way down the line. Something I've watched once and I'll just let it go.
So I think it would have been a perfect movie, a perfect good movie, good watch if the antagonist also had something in him, you know, in the. But then again, you know, the antagonist part, you know, my argument is that we are so involved with the group of protagonists, all right, and even in the third act when there's this, you know, they're fighting, so they revolve around the protagonists and how comic these people are. So you can really look over the antagonist part, but then it really would have been perfect if the antagonist also would.
Maybe we would have watched every once a year or a couple of years because like the movie was so well done. But like that will hinder it from being one of those movies that you keep repeat
so
watching.
again, on the other part, I mean, if there's a second part, you know, now they could explore because we've fully explored the chemistry of these characters, you know, they could expand on that, plus they could have a proper antagonist, so that'd be fun.
I think I think next movie they could.
And the title,
better.
what about the title?
See, okay, so Oswald did refer to this earlier, right, that you were not interested in watching this movie. One of the main reasons being, and even Ahmada, my brother, elder brother, right, our elder brother, he was not into this movie because it said Dungeons and Dragons, right? Now that is like, oh, I don't know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe I will not understand anything about this movie, right? Or like this movie will be so different from my concept of things that maybe I'll not have a good time, right?
Yeah.
Because Dungeons and Dragons was a big thing in America. Maybe UK, maybe Australia, but not that massive of a deal anywhere else in the world. You know?
Yeah.
So if I was the director, I would have gone Honor Among Thieves, a D&D story.
That's a nice way to put it.
Right?
Yeah.
So that way, it would be like, oh, Chris Pine is there. I know that guy. You know, like Michelle Rodriguez is there. I know her. Hugh Grant is there. I know him.
It seems like a comic cast.
Right?
You know,
and like, so people could have been into it. And it's a fantasy. So maybe it could be fun. Let's go and watch it. And it's a D&D story. So D&D, like, you know, for the people that would know, they would know. And for the people that would not know,
they could look over that
care,
part.
Right?
Yeah, they wouldn't care. Yeah.
So I thought that, like, that was such a misguided effort on the director's end to, like, and the last Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out in the late 90s, which had, what's his name? Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks starring. That sucked.
Sucked?
Like, yeah. Badly sucked.
Okay.
So, for the people that were around then, for them, Dungeons and Dragons already is like, oh, that experience. So I'm not going to check Dungeons and Dragons out. Right? So, I think it was...
So, yeah, maybe they could push it or sell it, you know, on different front, you know, with not using the D&D as a main source of name, you know.
I think the second movie might be fine now using it because the first movie still survived.
Yeah.
But I thought it could have earned more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the movie, I think, deserved more financially. But then that was one of the reasons, you know, because of the name. I don't think it pulled a lot of weight, you know, because it's Dungeons and Dragons. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
Over here.
In India.
Exactly.
People in India, China, they would watch it because these are massive populations. Brazil.
Yeah.
Why would they go and watch it? Like Dungeons and Dragons was never famous here. You know what I mean? And the last thing, so given the name, it attracted a niche market, right? So, and like you said, that like it should have earned a lot more. I think it could have gone up to 300 million. I think it could, you know, if it was just named differently, because people are into fantasy nowadays, you know, and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And on the weak aspect of things, but for the people that enjoy comedy, I think they should watch it at least once. I think they should give it a try. And
a good mix of fantasy and comedy with a good cast and good chemistry among the cast. So I definitely suggest a good watch.
Lots of things going in the favor of the movie, you know. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to add to the D&D Honor Among Thieves, the new title?
I hope, you know, we get to watch the second one because really I was interested and it was a good watch. Pretty much we covered everything.
Interesting question then. A movie worth watching on the big screen or could have been watched on Netflix or Hulu or
I think it's a family movie, you know, that you could not, you know, I don't think it's theater worthwhile. You know, maybe you just chill out someday at home and then, you know, watch it on the TV.
A rainy day, snuggle in with
Exactly. Yeah.
Or, chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just watch the D&D.
Yeah.
And D&D, bro. So could go either way, you know.
So yeah.
Anyways, so that's pretty much it on the Dungeons and Dragon Honor Among Thieves. Still a mouthful. Now let's go into some movie math and let's talk about some of the anticipated movies that are coming up now. So go, lead us in, Ashwal.
So yeah, this is something we always wanted to do, and we watch movie maths, of a couple of critics out there. So
Okay, explain to the viewers movie math concept first.
So yeah, so we do watch movie math. So and what movie math is? That's a couple of critics. They do this. So they sit down and they break down all the movies that have been released in recently, past month or so. And so they break down their opening weekend, the box office, the budget, and how well the movie has been doing domestically and also internationally. So we do, as movie fans, we do enjoy watching these movie maths. Especially the couple of critics, right? We enjoy their movie math.
Shout them out, Ashwin.
Yeah, Grace Randolph. I think
Beyond the Trailers.
Beyond the Trailers. Yeah, and the way she opens up, the way and she is an actual insider of Hollywood. So she predicts and knows exactly what's going on.
So her channel name is
Beyond the Trailer,
and the host's name is Grace
Randolph.
Yeah, and some of the other ones is Jeremy Jantz, Ashwal's favorite.
Yeah, obviously my favorite. Yeah. That guy is straight to the point and he speaks what he feels. So the reviews that he gives are fantastic.
Yeah, off the cuff.
Yeah, and Chris Stockman. You introduced him to me.
Yeah. Another one of those like super diligent. Who reads behind who knows a lot of things that's going in and out of Hollywood. He himself is a director as well, so he does a very good job of now a little bit less, but before his reviews and all that, I really love the way he broke down movies and characters and all that and all. And one of my now recent favorites is Dan Murrell, right? And this guy also, he's one of those Hollywood insider. He gets early access to watch movies in the premieres and all that and all. So yeah, pretty much.
So basically that's what a movie math is. It's a breakdown of the box office and the budget and the competitions that the movie has at the moment, internationally and domestically. So we're not going to deep dive that in that detail mode, but we're just going to give a brief of how the movie is done and how the previous franchises.
Some of the movies we've talked about that we've reviewed some of the movies that we wanted to talk about but we didn't get a chance, and some of the movies that were in our anticipated list. So we're just doing some of those, giving you guys a rough number and where the movie stood at the end of
we've always wanted to do this, and I think we'll get better with time, obviously. Right now, let's kick things off with John Wick.
Okay.
John Wick Chapter 4. It's been some time, and I think now the John Wick the saga has ended. With all the spin-offs maybe coming soon. Yeah, that's interesting. But so the John Wick Chapter 4, the budget was $100 million. But then in the box office it was $349.8 million.
So almost 3 times the return on investment.
Yeah, and it is the highest, obviously is the highest earning John Wick movie out of the 4 movies. And by the way, this $349 million is internationally and domestically included. So
the total earnings.
Yeah, so total earnings is that much. It opened on the opening weekend. It was on $73.5 million.
Okay.
So that was fine, don't you think?
No, my reaction is being shocked is because if the opening weekend was 73.5 million, then I would have anticipated it to earn more. But then now you can kind of see that there were not a lot of return viewers. Right? So, and maybe it didn't attract a huge female audience and all that and all.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's such an action-packed movie and all that. So, okay.
So, there are basically just 2 or 3 types of people that go to watch these movies, The John Wick fans out there, the action fans.
Do you think it's because the John Wick franchise itself lack the kind of popularity that we think it does? Or is it because people are getting tired? People got tired of the John Wick formula.
Maybe I think it's the first one, because I don't think people got tired. Maybe they have, but in my opinion, I think John Wick isn't as famous as it should be. or as we think it is.
Yeah.
You know,
because the gross number has gone up, so that means people are not tired.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we can infer that.
So there's the same group of people that go and watch these four movies with some additional fans, and just the general movie lovers who just go and check out movies. But then
all
it did
the
not.
gun nuts.
Yeah. So it did not expand as much as MCU. MCU was like way big, so it did not expand as much. I think that's the problem.
But I think now, like what they're trying to do is do something like the MCU, right? Like the ballerina thing coming, the John Wick.
The Continental coming out.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be okay. Anyways, that's pretty much it. John Wick, 100 million budget. John Wick 4, Chapter 4, and box office 349 million. So pretty good deal as a whole. And I do not think they crossed $1 billion in total. Do you
Overall,
think?
no.
Yeah, I don't think they did. But anyway, so let's move on to the next one. I haven't watched this one, but Ashwal has, and he had high words for this movie. What were some of the high words?
Creed 3. And it was so hyped, and I was so excited to watch this movie. I did not watch it on theater. I watched it at home. So director Michael B. Jordan, it was his debut as a director. And you could see that, I'll get to that in a while. So the budget, 75 million. That was the budget, and the box office was 271. It did good. It did do good. But I don't see the point.
Yeah.
I do not see the point. The thing is that it's so as a debut director, it was his directorial debut. You could see somewhere that, it is, and then it was mentioned before that it is a bit anime influenced. So you could see that somewhere, in the boxing scenes. Okay. And the boxing scenes are well done. You have to give that to him. But where the movie lacks is that it's a boxing movie. It's about, there's this guy who comes up from the past who was supposedly better than Creed, and then now he challenges him. So they dwell on the past too much. They were friends before, and obviously spoiler warnings and all that. They were friends before, and then this guy gets locked up, Jonathan Majors. His guy get locked up, and then Creed, on the other hand, goes on to be superstar. He goes on to be the best. And then when this guy comes back, he's already old, Jonathan Majors, but then he keeps his shape. So he wants to go for the ring. He wants to go for the belt. So with all that included, so they dwell on the past too much. If they could have just explained what happened or why it happened, just for some time, and then they could have moved on with things. So basically, there are only three main fights in the movie. And that was disappointing. And the thing about Rocky and the Creed movies is that the warm-up scenes were so good, right? And the tracks were so legendary as well. So, and that also lacks in this movie. The warm-up, the jogging scenes, the training scenes are not as good as they were.
One of the reasons Creed 1 was quite famous was because the underwater training scene.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And then and the Rocky movies as well, the running and then the soundtracks, exactly, soundtracks, that was...
Don't copyright us. Anyways.
Yeah.
But just like Jonathan Majors, my dad used to go for the belt when I used to be mischievous when I was young. But moving on.
Yeah, but then it did do good internationally, and it did do good in the box office, 271 million. And it was a good start for Michael B. Jordan as his debut. That I can say. And let's move on to the other one.
The third one. And this one I want to talk because this is not what you're expecting. Super Mario Bros. I am trying to get Ashwal hyped to go and watch this movie.
Yeah.
For some reason, he doesn't want to do it. And it's not being put on in the theaters in Nepal, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I mean, I was not that excited when he first, told me about it. But then at that time, I did not know about the earnings. Yeah. And man, it earned. The budget 100 million, and it's already earned 692 million.
Yeah. So you want to jump on the back?
Now I want to jump. Now I do. I want to check what it's about.
I think it's a family-friendly movie, and like the budget was 100 million, like you said, and it has already grossed 692.9 million. Right? I think it's just the second week.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
And the other crazy part is that people are expecting it to cross the $1 billion mark.
Oh.
For an animated movie.
Would it be the first? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm not sure.
The Lion King?
If adjusted for inflation.
Frozen.
Yeah, so
yeah,
if adjusted
Frozen.
for
Yeah,
inflation
yeah.
and all that, I think there would be other movies from the past as well. But Frozen, of course. Frozen 2, I think, or 3. 2, I think. Oswald's favorite movie. But yeah, so this movie seems to be doing really well. And Nintendo has also invested money in this. So I think this is a good thing all around. And I really do want to take some of our younger brothers to go and see this movie, but unfortunately it's not going to be put on in the theaters, so we'll have to wait for the movie to come out. And
so basically, let me give you a little bit of the hype that was on.
Yeah.
So what he was like, Aumar, let's go, and Ashwin, let's go check out this movie,
Yeah.
But for there's this small kid, Arvid. So yeah, let's go check it out. Arvid will really like it, and but his intentions, he wanted to be the one.
I was hiding my intention.
And when he found out that it's not going to be shown in Nepal,
yeah, Arvid was really sad.
Arvid was really sad. Yeah.
But that's the other one. And final movie, this movie we had put it into our most anticipated movies list. Horror movie, of course, The Pope's Exorcist. This movie's budget was starring Russell Crowe and supposed to be based on true events. Skeptical, but I am skeptical about that. But anyways, so the budget for the movie was 18 million, and it's already grossed 36.6 million as of yet. I think it's the first week that it's been released, and very polar opposite views, right, from people as well as critics.
I mean, these critics never give slack to the horror movies.
Yeah.
But even though it's disappointing, I think 47 on Rotten Tomatoes out of 100 and 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. So not that good.
Yeah.
But I was pretty much excited, man.
But 6.5 to 7 is a very good. Horror movie. So 6.3. So I think it could be like one of those that you watch it once and then just like put it in your memory bank and forget sometimes when you've got
Alzheimer. Because when we checked out the trailer, I was really excited. Because it's been some time. A good horror movie,
Apparently there's another one. I wanted to show you the trailer of this one, but I forget the name. But anyways, that's pretty much it. So that's the movie math, and some of the movies that we're interested in, maybe some of the viewers were interested in as well, and some of the movies that was in the anticipated list, and some of the things that's just going in and around in the Hollywood landscape, right? And we might do movie math for Bollywood movies as well, but it's not that we are not fans of Bollywood movies, it's just that we tend to watch them less than the Hollywood movies.
Yeah. And as time progresses, we'll go on detail with the movie math, with the competitions of the week, of the month, and the opening weekends, and the drop and the increases in the box office.
And how the whole market of Hollywood works, right? Yeah. Like how different it is from all the other different markets and all that. So, anyways, anything else you want to add to this, Ashwal?
Nothing much, but let's now. I think new set of movies coming out, and Super Mario. Let's check that out. Yeah.
Super Mario, super excited. Dad jokes. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and